All right, everybody, it's Tim Pohanka. We are here with Severe Lack of Talent. I am Tim Pohanka again.
Hey, guys, Nick Hall.
Robert Perry.
And these gentlemen are joining us. This is our podcast. We've done this show a couple times, but now we're going to go live here. This is our Severe Lack of Talent show. Obviously, it's because we know it's easier to comment on sports than to play sports.
Yep.
So that's what we're here to do today. Now, we're going to have a little bit of fun as we start off with, since we've got both of you here from the Fred Nats, and you guys both claim to have some baseball knowledge.
A little bit.
More or less.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to do something a little fun. I want to see just how well you guys are doing in baseball. We're going to do something that I call stump, the baseball player, baseball knowledge, stump your knowledge here. This is from the Cardinals of Legacy Foundation for Baseball. Do you know the rules of baseball? So Here we go. We're going to start this off. And with a runner on first base, the batter hits a line drive to the shortstop, who intentionally knocks the ball down, grabs it, and turns a double play. What is the ruling?
Oh, man.
Well,
So is it a double play with both the runner and the batter out? A dead ball, the runner awarded second and the batter awarded first? A dead ball, batter is out, runner back to first? Or dead ball, runner is out, batter awarded first?
now it's a double play.
All right, so you got double play
Double
both
play.
out.
If it's a line drive and it was not called, if it's a line drive, it's a double play. If a runner's just on first base, in order to have infield fly rule, you got to have them on first and second.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go
double play. I'd go double play.
So both double play,
out.
both runner out.
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
You're a
The
professional.
official rule of baseball states an infielder who intentionally drops a fair fly ball or line drive with first and with first and second, or first and third, or first, second, and third occupied before there are two outs, the ball is dead and the runners shall return to the
But
original
there's only a
base.
runner
line
on
drive.
the situation you said. There's only a runner on first. The rule that you just read said first
It
and
says
second,
first
and third.
with a runner on first and second.
Oh, okay.
First and third.
Sorry, Tim, I thought you
first,
stuttered.
second, yeah. So, all right. So, hey, it's a tough one. These are tough.
Okay.
That's tough because a
Okay.
line drive, how do they know that he intentionally dropped it? You can intentionally drop a fly ball. I mean, come on. You should drop.
All right. So, a batter hits a line drive to the pitcher, who does not touch the ball, but the ball hits the rubber and bounces between first and home and rolls into foul territory. If the fielder has not touched the ball, is it a foul ball, a fair ball, or a dead ball?
My vote's dead ball. My vote's dead ball.
Okay, dead ball, runners is awarded first if untouched before. All right, so that's what you've got there.
I think it's gotta.
That's a good
It's
one.
foul.
I've got foul ball.
It's foul.
Okay. It is a foul ball.
It's a foul ball.
Really? Interesting.
That's a
batter-
wild scenario.
Yeah. A batted ball not touched by a fielder when it hits the pitcher's rubber and rebounds into foul territory between home and first or between home and third is considered a foul ball.
What about if it hits first or third?
First or third is fair territory because that's
It's on the other
line.
side. It's on the other side
That's
of the line.
the line.
Interesting. Okay. Huh.
A runner is on second base. A batted ball deflects off the pitcher and then hits the runner, who continues to third. The shortstop was in position to make the play before the ball hit the runner. Is it a dead ball, runner out, batter awarded first, or a live ball and the runners can advance at their own peril?
I do believe.
Home run.
No, the what home run?
Home run.
If now the one thing that wasn't mentioned was, once again, unfortunately with baseball there are some rules like this, intent. But if there is no intent in here at all, if it was ricocheted off of the pitcher, then it hit the runner, after it ricochets, it's a live ball.
All right, so you're saying it's a live ball, runners can advance at their own peril.
Yes.
You think it's a dead ball with the first runner out, and
Yep.
then the other batter awarded
As well,
first.
yeah.
All right, so it is a live ball, and the runners can advance at their own
Really?
pace.
Because it's no different than if a ball was hit and the first baseman, say it eats up the first baseman, the ball hits off his chest and then hits the runner.
But it hit
It's
in
live.
this case, it's saying hit the pitcher.
Hit the
first.
pitcher. It hits any player.
Exactly.
Any player. So it's the same thing. So yeah.
0 for 3 here. Here we go.
You're,
Well, you got one, though.
I got two. I'm 2 for 3.
That's true. You did get 2 for
That
3.
first
Here we
one
go.
that threw me.
Okay, runner is on second. A batter hits the ball past the third baseman, and and it strikes the runner before the shortstop can make the play on the ball. What is the rule?
Oh, the runner's out.
Okay.
The runner's out.
Yeah.
Runner's out.
Yeah, runner's out.
Runner's out. Congratulations. The batter's
Yeah,
out.
runner's out.
Now the other batter gets first base.
Correct. The other batter gets first base. It's
It's a dead ball out.
Right.
considered a fielder's choice,
Yep.
I believe.
Okay. Batter hits a ball into the outfield, rounds first, and slides safely into second, avoiding the tag, but then overslides the base. The runner is tagged out before he gets back to the bag. Is it scored as a single, or is it scored as a double?
Double.
Oh, it's a double.
It's a double.
It's a double once you hit the bag.
It is scored as a single.
Really?
Really?
If a batter runner overslides second base and is tagged out, the official score should be credited with one base hit.
But didn't he safely slide?
No, because he overshot it.
We just, well,
I mean, in order for it to count, you got to stay on the. You got to be able to stay on that base.
even if he touched it?
And look, man, I didn't write the rules.
Yeah.
You need to go call double
Yeah,
base.
yeah.
Whatever. Okay. Runners on first and second. Batter hits a ball and a fielder throws a glove at it and it touches the ball. How many bases are the runner and the batter awarded each?
I believe it's a.
They all go to the next.
Right, so one base. So everyone advances one
Everyone
base.
advances.
Can you read the question again?
Runners on first and second. Batter hits a ball, and a fielder throws the glove and touches the ball. How many bases are the runner and batter runner each awarded?
It is the base they are headed to plus one.
Okay. So 3 bases. 3 bases of the if a fielder deliberately touches a fair ball with his cap, mask, or any part of his uniform detached from its proper place on his person, the ball is in play and the batter may advance to home base at his peril. All right, so they can go whatever it's
Really?
So here's my question.
Basically-
So in the game, in our movie that we were talking about, doesn't someone catch their ball in their glove in like one of the major league movies? His cap?
Angels in the outfield.
Or Angels, one of them, they catch
Yeah.
it, so that's not an out.
Well,
So-
they also probably weren't angels in the outfield helping them.
Whoa. Okay. Let's not
Well,
make.
okay,
This
yeah,
is not
yeah.
where we're making hot takes right now, Rob.
Is it Matthew McConaughey's character? Weirdly, that movie stacked with actors.
Matthew McConaughey was an Angels in the
Matthew
Outfield?
McConaughey was one of the outfielders.
You know what? I like to think that I know unique trivia. The fact that you can tell me who the lesser known actors are at the time.
It's Adrian Brody's in the movie. Matthew McConaughey. Obviously Danny Glover. The movie has stacked. Go IMDb.
All right,
Angels in the Outfield.
well, maybe we'll bring that in as another episode, so we can still, because obviously he's our movie trivia guy. All right, a runner's on third with 1 out. The pitcher starts motion. The runner takes off to steal home. In moving into position, the catcher steps in front of home plate, receives the ball from the pitcher, and tags the runner before he touches home plate. Is it a balk? The runner scores. The runner is out with no pitch. Balk and interference from the runner. Runner scores, and the other batter gets to go to first. Or the runner is out, and the pitch is considered a ball.
Okay, the runner's definitely not out. It's on the catcher. It is a balk.
I would say it's
a balk. You can't. The catcher can't step in front of the plate or touch the plate during a pitch.
Okay. It is a balk.
Yeah, we're going with the ball.
It's interference with a squeeze play or steal of home. If the runner on third trying to score by means of a squeeze play or steal, if the catcher or any other fielder steps on or in front of home plate without possession of the ball or touches the batter or his bat, the pitcher shall be charged with a balk and the batter shall be awarded first base. How do some people not have to use video replay on all of these things?
See, that's
So wait,
that
does
one.
the third? So it's a balk. So he goes first. Does the third score?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
A balk. All the runners.
Everyone
advance.
advances.
I knew
one.
that was a
But
balk. That was
because
the one I knew for sure. That was a balk.
Yeah.
So that's my little. So you guys did a pretty good job.
I was,
Wow, you
I
did
was
a good job.
500.
Yeah.
500.
I mean, that's not really too bad. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, there's some other interesting things on here. We can kind of go back and touch base on that later. But it's a good start to see how you guys are.
Yeah.
Some of those are
Okay.
realistic, but I want to see a replay somewhere of a line drive hitting the pitching rubber and then going out.
Yes, that has had to have happened before.
I mean, it had to happen at some point, but I want to see a replay of it.
So we did get a question here from your team, and it says they're asking about why you guys don't know your baseball trivia. Maybe they have to renegotiate your contract. So.
Please.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I was like, who was it?
So, all right. So, obviously, if you guys have any questions while we're talking or comments, you're welcome to drop them on here. So, I want to go on to, since we're talking about baseball, most interesting news that obviously it's come out is the fact that Major League Baseball has got a plan in place that they'd like to talk about that involves 82 games, 30-man roster, 14-team playoff. By the way, it's a 20-player traveling squad, and a 50-50 revenue split. Obviously, it doesn't say anything about minor league baseball in here. What are you guys just thinking about that?
Well, I'm going to right off the bat, I was totally wrong in my predictions. I thought they were going to kind of iron this out pretty quickly. I think the 50-50, not even just the 50-50, I think the revenue split, I think it could be a major holdup for the players. Because, they don't want to set a precedent for next year because then the owners can say, oh, look how great this worked. I don't know if the players are going to budge on a revenue split.
But how many players, does it take 51% of the players?
I'm not sure. I don't.
Because if it takes 51% of the players' union, you're looking at anyone who's not making money.
So your top 20% is really the ones that are making the money.
Yeah, I mean, so if it's anyone else who's not is not making money, who needs this money,
yeah,
you know what they're going to vote for.
But the players union in baseball is so strong. They also might be able. They might have funds this year to help them if they don't play. I can't see the players budging on a revenue split. Because they know, hey, we might make money this year, but in the long run, this is going to work against us. And the owners are, I think, just chomping at the bit. Take the revenue split. Take the revenue split. That way, maybe not next year, but 5 years down the road, they can be like, hey, look how great this revenue split was. Yeah. We all won. So I've switched. I would not be surprised if they can't come to an agreement. As much as it makes sense for everybody, I just can't see the players budging. I really can't. Especially with people like Bryce Harper coming out and saying like, "Oh, I agree with the Rays pitcher from last week that said he's not going to take a pay cut." So I don't know.
I am for any plan that at least gets us to watch some baseball this year. I'm fine with empty stadiums. I'm fine with whatever it takes to watch the MLB actually play some baseball. I think the country needs it. We all need it. And I'm well aware that this probably means that there would be no fans. There's going to be it's going to be a different, and in some way, shape, or form, it's going to be a different sport at points in time. I mean,
no spitting, no handshakes.
Yeah, there's all these things that have to go into play, but I hope they do get it worked out. If it just sucks because Robbie, you're right. You're right of all the things you just said, and it just sucks that the reason that they may not play this year is not COVID-19 at this point.
Oh,
it's not as money.
To be fair, that part of what the Major League Baseball Players Union wanted to talk about is they wanted to talk about what the safety protocols would be if they're going to play. So when you look at the regionalization, so I don't know if that means that, okay, hey, we're going to spend 2 weeks playing in Baltimore, we're going to spend a couple weeks playing here, or whatever, how that's going to be. So they got regionalization, so there's going to be less flying time, which is good. You've got testing the players regularly. Now, I don't know how they plan on getting that done, whether they got a whole supply of testing kits. Temperature taking all the time.
Yeah.
And they're not just talking about the field players. They're talking about the staff and all that goes in there. Reducing the people at spring training to 50 people. So they think they'll do those in waves, how well that looks. Expanding the clubhouse. So you'll be 6 feet apart in the clubhouse, which means you could be changing in, the hallway.
Yeah.
What's going on there.
Seriously. They would. I can see them putting like metal chairs outside.
So they'll do that. Obviously, there'll be no press in the clubhouse. Isolate players on the road, which means they'd have their own room, which I think most of them have right now.
I think another thing is some of these things that you're saying are short term. Are short term. I don't think that we're going to be seeing empty stadiums for the next 10 years by any means, but some of these aren't going to be short term. Some of these are not going to be short-term changes to the sport. I don't see media being back in locker rooms. Period. I don't. I see
players
that
will
being.
love that. Players would agree with that very quickly.
I think there's some things out of this that they're proposing that are going to be the new norm, not just in baseball but across sports in general.
So you know, given how long you figure there's been such the fight about being able to get in and talk to these players, so you think that the press is going to be willing to sit around to wait to talk to these guys afterwards in a
If it's the only way, they sure
regulated
will.
environment?
If it's the only way, they sure will. I mean, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, if your choice is, hey, I mean, if baseball comes out with the rule that press can't be in the locker rooms, and the only people that disagree is the press,
Yeah.
baseball doesn't care.
I mean, I don't know. I think you could see a pushback from the media about what they're willing to cover.
Sure.
Think about that. If they're not willing to be given the access that they feel that they need to do their job, could this mean that you would get less coverage?
I mean, go back 20 years. In 2001, there were plenty of citizens of America that thought, I'm not about to take my belt off at an airport. I'm not flying anymore.
Yeah.
Here
You have to
we
do
are.
something. You have to have
Here we
them
are.
outside, interview outside, or have more people, more press conferences.
Yeah.
But like the fact that once everyone's dressed, they let everyone in. Players hate that. No players, maybe one or two guys that want to talk.
But not to mention, it's where
but
emotions
players
are the
hate
high.
that.
Now, this is why the media loves it, because they get that scoop. But it's where the emotions are highest.
Yes.
And then on top of that, too, it's where the mistakes of the players' words
Absolutely.
come into play. It's where they are most often, not to say misquoted because they said it, but they might have worded it in a way that, the media does a really good job at times of making your words sound like you said something different.
How many times do you think I'm in media, okay? I want the access to the players.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay, the very first time that I misquote you, or I take what you said out of context, or I give you grief for something that you said in that way, you remember that.
Oh, without a doubt.
So
they do.
I've done interviews with people in my job and gone, I remember this one now, and I'm not talking to you again.
Right.
So there is that. I mean, there is some self-regulation in this. It's not an entire gotcha. Now that may be a gotcha from a guy who's reporting on you from an opposing team who comes in and you get a barb. I mean, who was the last real villain in talking to the press?
The last real one?
Bryce Harper at times.
I mean-
it's a clown question, bro.
Okay, but
Russell
that's-
Westbrook.
Okay, so those are the things that he's saying, but do people stop?
No, God, no. They might swarm. if
And I think
anything.
he still enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, trust me, if you don't think he doesn't enjoy going, I mean, John Tortorella in hockey, I mean, Torts always is going off on the beginning for asking a
Cam
question.
Newton. Cam Newton, when he laughed at the female reporter a couple years ago, then after the Super Bowl was barely answering any questions. You could say Cam, but then Cam also is on the flip side a reporter's dream.
I got a name for you, Marshawn Lynch.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Who is the last person? I mean,
Okay,
but
he's
also
just
not rude.
here, so he doesn't
He's
get
not
fined.
rude to people.
Correct.
He's also not rude to people.
I mean,
Cam was
at the-
rude.
And I think at the end of the day, there has to be some respect the fact that, yes, they just lost in a big game, or they just lost an important game, or I had my Bill Buckner moment where, oh my God,
Yeah.
this happened. Let's bring it back to talk about this. So the interesting thing that was part of it, the hang up on this is the 50-50 revenue share. We think we can
Right.
agree on that. With the safety concerns somewhat resolved.
Yeah.
The owners are suggesting, and again, I say suggesting. I'm not an owner of a baseball team, that they will lose $640,000 for every game that's played without fans.
I believe it.
Now, just to put in perspective, just to make sure, I looked at 2019's average Major League Baseball attendance. 28,317 was the average attendance per game, and the average ticket cost was $32.99, which, doing that math, that's about $934,000. That doesn't take into account anything else that's sold, bought, consumed, parking, and all of that. So do you think that $640,000 number that the owners are saying is fair, and the players should take that really into account?
It's first of all, it's fair. It's fair. Now the next question is, and this is what the entire debate about is: should the players care about that at all? And that's where they're at right now. They're saying we don't own a team. Why should we be held liable for that? That's what they're saying. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, but that's what they're saying. But is that number fair? Is their analysis fair? I think absolutely. No doubt that they're losing that much per game. Now, granted, this is an average.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your Yankees are going to be losing a little bit more per game than your than your Marlins and your Rays and your Athletics. They're going to be losing a little bit less per game, but that average of 640, I think that is probably a fair assumption, no doubt. No doubt.
And it also comes down to who's complaining, because the money is, they're not going to get the, like the Yankees, their in-stadium revenue is crazy. But also their TV deal is, same with the Red Sox, some of the best. So it all depends who's complaining about this. Or is it the big teams that have these fantastic media deals, local media deals, or is it the lower teams? Because if it's the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Phillies and the Dodgers, if they're the ones complaining, saying, "Hey, we're going to lose all this money," they're going to be just fine. Yeah. But if it's suddenly the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Braves have a great deal.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
If it's the teams that don't have good media deals, that maybe like, hey, we don't have these great deals. We have to have in-stadium fans, or we're going to lose, this money. We're not going to make much money besides our, maybe our ESPN deals. I understand where they're coming from, but if it's suddenly the New York Yankees, if they're complaining, the owners, I don't feel bad for them.
Keep in mind, when I look at this, teams like Detroit, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Baltimore. I will say this: I cannot imagine a day when I can see that Baltimore is the third lowest attendance team in baseball.
What a shame! What a shame!
Shame, but doesn't. It's surprising right now.
I remember
15 years ago
having season tickets, making a drive from Fredericksburg to go see the Orioles play. And this is not the effect of the Washington Nationals coming to town.
No.
This is 100% the fact that the quality of the play on that team since the Cal Ripken era is just gone.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother topic.
My family were big, Baltimore Orioles fans. They lived in Woodbridge. They would drive all the time. I actually saw, this must have been 16, 17 years ago, maybe even longer. It was probably longer. I went to only one Orioles game, and they were playing the Rangers, and A-Rod was on the Rangers.
Oh, no kidding.
And it was packed. The stadium was packed.
Yeah.
It was just, a summer day, and it's, what has happened from attendance? Yeah, it's going to hurt them.
The Tampa Bay Devil Rays and Miami.
Yeah.
Miami has average 10,000 people in their stadium.
A new stadium.
In a beautiful. I was telling you guys before, a few years ago, I had the chance to go down to Miami to visit my brother. They were playing the Nationals in a time when, I know this is taboo now, but in a time when Bryce Harper was the front runner for to be the MVP candidate. And we went in, bought tickets right in front of the gate for $6, sat 3 rows off the field, and we were one of maybe 3,000 people there.
It's mind-boggling to me.
Especially that it's in Miami, a huge city, new ballpark, and with a Hispanic population. Mm-hmm. To do that bad,
it's like you're trying.
It's like you're trying.
We gave the Rays a bunch of crap. Or does this just say that baseball in Florida is just not a good deal?
Well, it's hard to argue it.
Yeah.
But another thing too. What I was going to say is that the Marlins are very, very similar to teams like the Oakland Athletics, teams like the Seattle Mariners, in that they don't normally go after the big names. They raise through their system, and then when those guys earn those big contracts, they sell them.
Yeah.
They sell them.
Though. Seattle does a good job of rallying around their team. Obviously,
no doubt. Oh, I'm not talking about attendance.
How bad they're all.
Just to give you an idea to make this how this is embarrassing. The Tampa Bay Lightning average last year 18,922 people in the stadium. When you go down to the Florida Panthers, they were at 14,000. So when you look at it from that standpoint, both of those hockey teams draw better than baseball.
So maybe it goes back to maybe baseball. The reason why it doesn't do good is because maybe it's so stinking hot. Maybe
it's sticking hot for hockey.
Well,
you got to keep ice on the rink.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if you go into the Tampa Bay Lightning in July in Tampa, it's going to be at least you have AC. You know, I mean, I guess the Tampa Bay Rays,
The Marlins. It's a dome.
yeah. I was trying to defend Florida. Okay.
Okay. I mean,
But I think everybody knows. Everybody knows that the tale as old as time itself. Everybody knows that Florida is a hockey market.
Yeah. I do want
Florida's a hockey.
I
Exactly.
do want to give Tampa Bay Lightning fans some credit. They are getting up there as some of the best fans.
Oh,
in the
no
NHL.
doubt. They do.
Florida, I would have never guessed 14,000 for the Florida Panthers, though. I would have been like 8. But Lightning, they got some crazy. They got some crazy.
I mean, we're gonna parlay a little bit in the NHL, but maybe we can start to talk about this. Maybe that means that is the NHL doing a better job marketing their product. I mean, their games are the number of games, the length of the season. They're all very similar.
I think it's not a fair comparison to go all of NHL against all of MLB.
Yeah.
Because there are some teams in both leagues that do a tremendous job, and some teams that have Derek Jeter as their owner, whatever he is now.
It's not fair to throw shade at the MLB because they have the Marlins.
There are plenty of stadiums in the MLB that when you go, they are sold out 82 times a year, and no other sport, hockey, football, anybody can sell out their stadium that many times in a year. So it's not fair, I think, to do it league wide. I don't think it's fair to do it league wide because I mean, you go to a Cardinals game, man. There's no atmosphere like a Cardinals, like Fenway, Wrigley. Oh man,
yeah.
I mean, they're
Dodgers.
When's the last hockey game you were at?
It would have been 2 years ago now with the National Predators.
Okay,
but I will
Predators
say,
are great
if you were the Predator, if you were at a Preds game, they do an incredible job.
the National Predators. Now, if we're talking in-game entertainment, sign me up for hockey above everything else.
Well, I mean, the
No
difference
doubt.
between hockey and, by the way, baseball has this opportunity, and I think this is an example of where you all in minor league baseball get it.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the in-game experience for the fan.
Yeah.
If you go to an NFL game when it's commercial timeout, TV timeout, you're getting in with commercials just like the people.
You're preaching. You're about to get us on a soapbox
I
real
would say
quick.
that the NFL is I go to the NFL games just for the tailgating. Everything else I'd rather be watching on TV.
Now, this is your first season in DC, right?
Yes.
That's the only reason to go to DC.
Yeah.
is because of the tailgate.
Like
Dan Snyder, you are still welcome to join us.
The NFL completely misses the mark on in-game entertainment, but a special shout out to the Carolina Panthers. They put on like a minor league show nonstop in between breaks.
Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers.
Look, bold take. Everybody get ready. Baseball does at the MLB level a pretty bad job of entertaining fans.
Considering the opportunities.
Because you as a baseball fan, if you're going to MLB game, you are going for baseball. Minor league, just like you said, and hockey, you don't have to know a lick about hockey. You're going to have a great time
hockey
at an
does.
NHL
I
game.
mean, like for the
Incredible.
Predators, I mean, they do skits nonstop, and the NHL, and I think NHL also sees, hey, we got to get people in our stadium somehow. Especially in the South, they don't understand hockey. If you go to a national, they're like, hey, somebody hit somebody.
But don't you think that means that if you're Major League Baseball, okay, you have a responsibility as the commissioner or the other owners in the team to sit there and look at them and say, what are you doing? I mean, you're damaging our product. I mean, think about that. If a hockey team outdraws you in a marketplace, that's...
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, when you're talking about the demographics of the city, I mean, if this was in Toronto...
Right.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
But even think about that. I mean, so, I don't think it's a problem with the baseball. I don't think it's a problem with hockey. I think it's a problem in the ownership.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
And I think if they
100%.
don't care about the product, they're not. It's going to equate to the fan experience.
And Tampa, the Tampa Rays, one, they have a crap stadium. I mean, crap stadium. Two, the Tampa Rays aren't really in Tampa. So, you know, they have some excuses. You know, the Miami Marlins, I mean, there's no reason they should at least be averaging
10.
20,000. You know, they
10 is just not
and,
where
and
it
that's
should be.
that's probably not even, like you said, they don't have 10,000 people at that ballpark.
No.
No way.
And you know what I like to do is same thing we just had a little bit ago about MLB and NHL. You can't compare them as a whole. And I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that there's some MLB stadiums out there that feel as though they kill it. There's fans probably out there that say, it's the best time ever.
There are. I mean,
I want to know to our, here on Severe Lack of Talent. I know, I can see that now that we're finally live, we can see how many people are watching us right now. So for the tens and tens of people watching, if you guys are
to the tens and tens of watching.
if you guys have a team that we need to go to a game and really, what MLB stadium does the best job? I'd love to know.
I mean, I haven't been to nearly as many MLB games as NFL games. The Atlanta Braves, though, do a great job. They do have the Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
They did when they were the sign race that we're going to do at the stadium. That's where I got. So they do a lot of promo, and that was actually at a playoff game. So they didn't. If any game you didn't need to do, it was a playoff game against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And it was nonstop entertainment. I was impressed.
I've been lucky. I've been to Fenway, and
you don't have to. You don't have to do anything.
I mean, there's nothing
you
like
don't.
quite being at the altar of baseball.
Yeah.
And then I've been at Wrigley for a day game, and they do an incredible job, and they don't, and in that small stadium and that vibe that they get, which is why Baltimore just scares me. Though it's so sad is that's what they tried to recreate in Baltimore, and they did a good job. They did a great job. I mean, Camden Yards was the original throwback stadium for everybody, but I think the size of what you're trying to do and some of these teams what they're able to accomplish. I went to this summer. I went to a White Sox game. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. I mean,
They have a nice stadium.
They have a nice stadium.
They have a nice stadium.
I mean, it's hard to get to, but it was a nice stadium. So, all right. So that leads us into hockey. A little bit further into it. They're voting today on a 2014 playoff, which originally I was a little skeptical on until I read a little bit more about it. So the top 4 teams in each conference immediately get a bye. So they're in the playoffs, no problem. The remaining 16 teams have to, in each conference, have to fight it out to get the final seeds. Mm-hmm. I mean, for a team that was on the bubble, they have a chance to get back in the game. Some of the teams that weren't on the bubble, I guess it kind of gives them a chance to get in.
Because they would have they had a couple games left. They would have had an opportunity to get in.
And I think this is about television contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is wholeheartedly.
This
This is about television contract. They're letting more teams get in, so they at least have the final 5 games, get teams to fulfill their contracts. Because there was 8-ish games left in their season. But look who it kind of shafts in some regards. Yeah. When we look locally, Ovechkin's quest to reach that. He's now lost games to strike. He's losing games to score. I mean,
he's lost games to strike twice, hasn't he?
I mean, he's just it's just when you look at some of those things, but playing in a hub city with no fans, and then a July 1st estimated start with a training camp where they'll start it in June. I'm a hockey fan, so I'm tired of watching hockey on Madden. I mean, not Madden on ESPN. Or not ES, whatever.
It's definitely
EA
not
Sports.
on ESPN. ESPN hates hockey.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, on EA Sports, although it's been fun. I'm ready for it.
Absolutely.
If they can do it safely.
Yeah.
And I think them going right into a playoff picture. I think it's the right thing to do. And obviously, if you're talking about National League hockey, immediately you fall right behind it with basketball. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about going to Disney's Wide World of Sports.
Yep.
So, what do you think about their idea of going right into the playoffs?
Man, if I was I love hockey hockey playoffs. They're the best. If I'm a diehard fan, and cheer for two teams, the Washington Capitals and the Buffalo Sabres. We don't have to worry about the Sabres in the playoffs. But if the Capitals win, Matt Duchene came out. He plays for the Nashville Predators. He came out. I got the quote right here. And I was like, He said, this is a quote, "You don't want to have a COVID cup. I'm worried that if we come back and try and force this thing and it's a little gimmicky and it's not quite right, whoever wins the cup is going to have people try and take it away from them their whole lives." He's got a point. Be like, yeah, you guys won the Stanley Cup, but you didn't really win the Stanley Cup.
But to win the Stanley Cup, you have to go through a regular. They're gonna have the regular playoff format.
Right.
You have to go through every round
For sure.
every opportunity to get there. And there's been so many times in the past when the President's Cup award team winner loses in the first round.
Yeah.
And I know that per fact because it happened to the Capitals
every time.
So I think to sit there and say that the quest for that Stanley Cup, if they're going to be made to go through the grueling 7-game series that they had, there's no taking. There's no COVID in that cup.
Right.
If this season were cut short by less than half the season, maybe there would be a case on that. I mean,
But
it was
even-
so close.
Even
yeah.
so, nobody takes away a few years ago when the NBA went on strike, didn't start games till Christmas? They lost almost half the season. The NBA did half the regular season.
Right.
Nobody really is saying, yeah, but you only played half the
NHL
regular
lost games
season.
too, yeah.
Yeah, no one's really.
and at the end of the day, I'll have my ring. Go, you call whatever my COVID ring you
True,
want. I don't,
true,
yeah,
True.
and,
But Matt Duchene, he's a good player.
Yeah,
he's
yes,
very
yes.
highly paid. So it makes you wonder, are other players thinking the same thing? But like you said, it's not like they're playing one game, but like I guess where it could get weird, because they are playing a one-game playoff to get in, they're expanding the playoffs. If one of those teams won, then maybe it's like, well, you would have been in the playoffs anyways.
True.
If the first seed wins, if the Washington Capitals win, no one's going to be complaining because they were going to be...
well, we're not going to complain.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
exactly. Yeah,
it's just not
exactly.
gonna-
But if a team plays a one-game buy-in and they get in the playoffs, and it's like you guys had 8 games left and you were 4 games out of the playoffs, you weren't going to get in the playoffs, then maybe you can get icky if they win. And in hockey, that's the thing about playoffs. It could happen. It could easily happen.
Well, I mean, I'm excited about them coming in. I think it would be fun. I like what their thought process is.
I'll tell you guys what. Hockey without fans, as great as fans are, hearing the players on the ice in hockey on TV would be an unbelievable product.
Now that I will tell you, you're right on
Yeah,
that.
that would be an unbelievable
if
product.
you've never done it, you need to go onto Google and you need to Google referees.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
just dish it back so hard.
oh my God! You think about the only other people that do that is really in baseball when they'll yell back at them. But I mean, I remember listening to one where the guy's they're yelling at the ref, and he finally looks at him and goes, "You're just pissed because you're losing."
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought?
They would need like a 30-second delay because of how they got some mouths on them. I mean, and they're all
They're all chippy.
all they're chirping, they're yelling, they're great. Bunch of white guys who would have thought are great trash talkers out there.
Well, Canadians.
Canadians,
yeah, right.
So, once the Canadians get involved in that,
Lots of A's, huh?
I mean,
A's.
I will tell you, then you hear the game. The fact that you're hearing the hits,
Yes.
you're hearing the talking that goes on there. It's a completely different game.
It would be, because you don't realize how much they yell at each other. There's the communication constantly. You'll be watching it, and you hear guys yelling at each other constantly. And it would be awesome for TV. It would be awesome.
Oh no,
for TV.
I think in that regard, I think you're right because when you look at when they're doing the outdoor series and the stadium series and they're doing the Winter Classic, you barely see the crowd anyway because they're in the middle of that stadium. So I think that would be great, and it is that the listening to it would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So no, I'm with you on that 100%. So we went on a little further, and go on to the next group that talked about coming back was the NFL. And they're telling everyone they're going to lose $5 billion with playing their season with no fans. The number one team they're expected to lose is the Cowboys at $621 million. And then
Well, if they don't get something worked out.
You know
with
who's
Dak
not?
pretty
You know
soon.
who's not losing any money are the
Well, Redskins. and that.
LA, yeah, the LA Chargers aren't losing any money.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if the Chargers can draw more than the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Are they?
I don't think so. I mean, they had a 20,000 person stadium, and it was always 90% of the other team. They played at that soccer stadium.
See, that's the thing though, is that in football, those away teams are actually traveling.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's why I think that the Chargers still would outdraw.
They played 16 away games.
Yeah. That's why I think the Chargers would actually outdraw, because every other fan base gets a chance to go to LA.
So
and
when
watch
they
their home
moved
team.
in their stadium, you could get season tickets, and you could get first right of refusal to the Super Bowl and everything. You get season tickets, good season tickets, for $350 for the LA Chargers. I don't even live in LA, and I was thinking about buying season tickets.
Well, according to what I'm seeing here, they actually did fairly. I mean, that's not what, by NFL standards, it's not very good. 31,000.
31,000, but
They're not Chargers fans.
80-90% were Chargers fans.
Well, no, I mean, heck, when I sit here and look at this, and you look at
They sold out all the games.
You look at Washington, they're saying their average attendance was 65,000. Now, keep in mind, when he bought that stadium, it was an 80,000 some seat stadium. So, wonder where all those seats went, Dan. So
Ron Rivera's going to turn it around.
The future.
Maybe. Now, the only other thing that a few other things that came across there was, is this going to affect the salary cap?
I think so.
Yeah, it's gonna.
If they don't play,
if you're a player and you see that, and you're going to agree to play for whatever they say that they want you to play for, I'm going to sit there and say, hey, look, if my union, we're going to play, this does not count.
Right.
Towards the salary cap.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the worst union negotiation ever.
I feel like that's fair though, to have this year just not count.
Well,
for
and that's
salary cap.
also from a long-term negotiation. A lot of teams extend contracts. The players they want to keep. There's not been a lot this year because they know we don't want to extend these guys, and the next year, if it's lower, suddenly we're in this bad cap situation where we thought it's going to be increasing. Because every single year for who knows how long it's increased significantly in the NFL. But I mean, I think I don't know.
But I
don't know.
I mean, obviously, gate receipts play a part in the value of your team.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only thing I would say is if this is a long-term problem, then that would make sense that they have to look at it.
Right.
But most interesting thing I saw was Mark Cuban on Sean Hannity, which that immediately leads to wanting to watch because that just looks like a potential train wreck.
I was going to say that's must-watch TV.
Yeah, that looks like a train because Sean Hannity how he is, and that Mark Cuban's not going to take anything sitting down. Yeah. And he's invited on the show too. Would love to have Mark Cuban on here.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
Dream come true.
Yeah.
But he talked about how they can put groups of people in the stadium. They can segregate the stadium the right way. They can quarantine people. He goes, there's ways that they can get it done. It's just a question of how they can get it done, but it has to get done in steps.
Yep.
So will they put fans in? Yeah, I think that's going to happen. How they do it, but will the players have to realize that until they can get back to a full capacity, the economics of their individual sport maybe
If there's
disrupted.
any owners where I don't feel bad for whatsoever, NFL owners. The money they make compared to any other league, I mean, billions of dollars, literally. And they only, I mean, yeah, they make money in from gate revenue and sponsorships. It is nothing compared to their TV.
But the problem that
Nothing.
keep in mind though, you're looking at cities now who have spent a lot of money to bring teams, to build stadiums. I mean, you were looking at $1 billion stadium going in two cities right now that they're expecting revenue off of that. They're expecting ancillary revenue off of that. That's not going to show up.
For the LA Rams, if they don't play, I mean that is a nightmare scenario for them, for sure.
I mean, well, even in Vegas.
True. Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
I mean, and these are places that were expecting Super Bowls, that were expecting the revenue from that. I don't know. It's crazy there. And then
I think there are going to be people in NFL stadiums though this year.
And then
Hot take.
the last league to hit on just their return is the NCAA. Telling everybody that they're going to allow them to start practicing again. Of all the ones I'm the most concerned about, I think the NCAA is the one that I'm the most concerned.
Yeah, because you're concerned about the players' safety.
The athletes.
Yeah,
I mean, when you look at the environment they're going to be in, if these classes don't come back or this, they're not paid. They're not. They're not. I mean, well, maybe they're paid based on what they're.
They're not paid. Wink, wink. Yeah.
Well, what they're talking about, maybe paying them or whatever. They're not paid. They're technically scholarship athletes. Yes, or that's only in Division I or maybe a few in 2.
If they're, this is definitely a twofold. But if there anyone who really should be like, we're not playing, are NCAA athletes, because there's no money in the line.
But if you're a good player or you think you're a good player, that's the other problem for you. Is now. Are you jeopardizing your career? Are you jeopardizing your eligibility? That is one where I am absolutely just disappointed because there's no good answer for any of them.
Right. Unless they feel confident. I'm not a scientist. They might feel confident, like, hey, if they can ease concerns of the players, if there are serious concerns of the players, it's different when you are in the professional because there's money on the line. This is your job, But then on the flip side, with these players, I know we talked about it last time. This is their family. These are their brothers, and sisters. And so, would you rather put yourself? Especially in football, you're putting yourself on the line every single play.
Yeah.
So they're like, what's new? I'm already putting my health at risk. For me, it's worth it. So I don't know. It's twofold for sure.
Well, I just think it's very difficult for them to look at it from they're going to class, which is a full-time job.
Yeah.
Then they're going to school, they're going to work out or to play, full-time job. We're a professional athlete. They're training for their job. They go home.
Yeah.
They don't have that second job. So I think that the NCAA is they've got something coming on. They got to look at. Gang, this is our first live episode. We're really excited about it. We've got some comments that came in. If you've got anything you want us to talk about, we'll do it. We'll be glad to bring it up and talk about it. Going forward, we're going to start to really try to focus in a little bit more on local sports and local sports teams. Again, Dan Snyder, you are still welcome to come visit us at any time. We'll leave that open for any other sports team owner who wants to come in, except Peter Angelos. It's a long trip for him, so from Baltimore. So I'm Tim Pohanka. Thank you for joining.
Nick Hall.
Robert Perry.
We're severe lack of talent.